Spring games being canceled left and right. The question is, will Oklahoma Sooners join in on that? I actually have a feeling that it's probably going to happen. Let's talk about that. But first, welcome to UNFAIRSports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. This video is powered by our partners at BetUS. Check them out. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. So, a report came out earlier today that USC is going to cancel their spring game. And of course, it came with jokes. Everyone had a good amount of jokes to throw on there. But when I saw it, it made me think about where Oklahoma is when it comes to the spring game, their position, and why I actually believe they're going to follow suit. And this won't be the only set of teams that's going to do that. For one reason, tampering. Yes. You would think that tampering would not be running rampant from a spring game, but the way things I've heard and some of the rumors as to why some of the other schools have canceled their spring games is whenever the competition is watching your team play and they see those backups that they say, you know what, I'd like for them to start for us, tampering begins. It's when agents start getting pinged. That's when you start hearing about parents getting messages. And everybody's kind of like shameless right now when it comes to the tampering aspect because you kind of can be. Until regulation hits, everybody's just completely shameless when it comes to the way they tamper. And so for me, I asked the question, would the Oklahoma Sooners consider getting rid of their spring game to protect that third string defensive lineman or that fourth string wide receiver that they hope to have on the roster going forward? And to be honest, it kind of makes sense. Like there's a logical move behind why you would get rid of that. And I'll explain that in just a moment. But this is becoming a massive, massive issue in college football. Now, granted, I know a lot of people, blame NIL and all the other stuff and how everything is just the wild, wild west and unregulated. That's very much true. I could totally agree with it. While at the same time understanding that a lot of these coaches, all they're trying to do is keep their jobs. And so the best way to keep your job is to do what? Get really good players and put them on the field. Hopefully you can get them to start for you in comparison to them being on the bench at other teams. So that also leads to a paradigm shift, in my personal opinion, of parity in college football. The one thing that we've hoped to see a lot of, where you will see more of a balance when it comes to the competition, that's going to come here from the revenue share, and it's come already so far from NIL, where you're starting to see other teams start to move up and propel themselves. So, before Oklahoma, what players would be you would be concerned about being poached via tampering if you had the spring game? We'll talk about that. But first, shout out to our partners over there at BetUS. They'll hook you up. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000. 125% bonus on your second and thirds by using promo code YouTube150. And right now, John Mateer is still sitting nicely up there for the Sooners when it comes to the Heisman Trophy odds, plus 1,800. We talked about Mateer on numerous occasions about, his talent, and it's a possibility that he's going to go out there, show up and show out. So if you want to get on the action, you can do that at BetUS. They also got their casino going. So they've got all kinds of table games from blackjack to poker, etc. all there on the site, and you can check it out. So if you want to get on the action, they'll hook you up. 150% bonus on the first deposit and 125% bonus on the second and third, up to $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150, BetUS, where the game begins. So for Oklahoma, I guess here's the question I ask. For Oklahoma, they're going to have their spring game this year. But I expect going forward, there'll potentially be a cancellation in order to, like I said, avoid being tampered with. But what players would you think would be the ones they would go after? And I'm going to be honest. I think it'd be the offensive lineman. That's honestly, I think the first place schools will try to go after, especially in a spring game. You go see Ryan Fogier, Michael Fasusi, Owen Hollenbeck go out there with the second team or third team, and they look really good. What would stop a team from trying to go after them and say, hey, if you come here, we'll have you start immediately, and we'll pay you all of our NIL money? That's what we're seeing right now. Great example was Texas Tech. They paid a ton of money Micah Hudson rumored, and because of that, kid tried to transfer. He's going back. Schools are taking the opportunity to go after that top one player, maybe two, and throw everything at him and just fill up the roster, whatever players they can get their hands on to go with that. That is going to become the common practice here. And that's, to me, why I point out that there's a good chance that Oklahoma could go ahead and get rid of that spring game. It makes sense. If teams are paying attention to the players that you have and the caliber ones you have in your backup and in your depth, I would totally want to get rid of the opportunity for people to see those players move around and see them stand out. You only want them to see them in game, in the season, where they can't try to push them towards that spring portal. While at the same time, the expectation is that spring portal is going to eventually get closed. So it's probably going to be one portal window in December going in the future, especially once they figure out this new playoff setup, which we know that that's going to become a massive conversation. But if the NCAA adjusts the playoff stuff after they get the House settlement done and they make a decision on what they're going to do when it comes to what the actual windows are going to be for the transfer portal, I expect all spring games to be shut down until further notice, or at least a lot of them is going to be gone. I don't want my players stolen. I know you don't like your players stolen, but that's the world that we live in right now. Everybody's trying to find a way to keep their jobs. And so we'll see what happens. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Do y'all think Oklahoma will get rid of their spring game? Do you think they'll follow suit with some of the other schools? Would love to hear from you all. All right. Oklahoma just got themselves some crystal balls. They've gotten a lot of visits confirmed, and recruiting is starting to heat up. So we're going to make sure we have some videos on that coming up more. You'll see a bunch of that coming up over the next few days. We're going to start looking at some of these players and some of these visitors and see if we can find a potential star in there. Shout out to our partners at BetUS. They hook you up 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. We'll make sure, like I said, we'll drop some more videos over the next few days. We'll look at some of these recruits because this is the time of year where things are getting big. Everybody's confirming their visits and where they're going to go. You got players getting those crystal balls and future casts because of it appears that they're leaning towards certain schools. So we'll do that. And, we'll check that out. So we'll talk soon. Peace.